supplements are a scam, but it's like some of the chemical constituents in the supplements, like, mucuna purines as an example, like that stuff has naturally occurring levodopa in it, which is a pharmaceutical drug ultimately. All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics, on TRT, on biohacking, and on male performance. Please subscribe to the channel because, hey, bro, I know you're going to love the content, so just hit the sub button now. And look, bro, you either owe me a like or you don't owe me a like, and it depends on if you get this right. So let's flip this. Pick heads or tails. Pick it now. Pick it now. All right, it landed on heads. So here's the deal. If you picked heads, you're good to go. Move on. But if you picked tails, you got it wrong, and you owe your boy a like. Do the right thing. Who are we? We are Cortex Labs. We're predominantly a male performance company that specializes in globally shipped nootropic stacks. Most prominent of them is a Torque stack. Get it in the description of this video. I am a consultant on nootropics, TRT, erectile dysfunction, energy optimization, and a few other things. We also have Nootropics courses and guides that are stack rated and teach you how to use nootropics in a way which actually gets you results. All in the description or at livecortex.com. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do a reaction video to this guy, Justin Sung, who talks about nootropics. And really the whole question is like, do nootropics work? Are nootropics a scam? This was like his 30-day kind of experience with using nootropics. I just want to jump right into it and react because there's a lot of things that I can address that I think come from like mainstream's lack of understanding of nootropics that sort of permeates a lot of these YouTubers that discuss nootropics. Like, just every other one's talking about Adderall, Ritalin, and whatever, and these are not nootropics that we typically discuss. None of the mainstream guys that talk about nootropics talk about any of the racetams, stuff like Soniferam, any of the Alcar chemicals that we typically talk about that actually are nootropics and do have clinical benefit as well as anecdotal benefit. So let's just jump into this guy's video and see what he has to say.
Do nootropics work, or are they basically a scam? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to go through how you can decide whether nootropics work for yourself and how I would think about this question. I'm going to go through my experiences personally about using some of these, and I'm going to go through why it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what the science and the research says about nootropics or some of the ingredients, and how you can actually make a decision about whether whatever nootropic is right for you. So let's jump into that. So I get asked this question quite a lot. Do nootropics work? If you're not familiar with the term, nootropics is pretty much the word that's used for a category of supplements, foods, drinks, shots, whatever they are, that are meant to enhance your brain and cognitive performance. And it's a interesting topic for me that I have learned a lot more about over the last.
Okay, I would say you need to add on to that pharmaceuticals, because a lot of the nootropics that a lot of us use are pharmaceutical drugs, either in other countries like Russia, or they're discontinued pharmaceutical drugs that never made it past or to FDA approval or past certain levels of clinical trials. There wasn't efficacy. A lot of drugs, most drugs that go out and are tested, etc., actually don't make it to FDA approval and don't make it to drug use. It really all depends on the profitability, efficacy, safety, and all these kinds of things. So there's plenty of pharmaceutical drugs in there, like aniracetam, like Noopept. I really wouldn't consider phenibut a nootropic or a smart drug, but if you want to throw it in that category, fine. And obviously then you got the ampakines like Uniferam and Soniferam. So definitely not exclusively nutraceuticals or drinks or whatever, mostly pharmaceuticals and some nutraceuticals. Let's continue.
Last few years. And it's interesting because I have my medical background, and so I can put on my medical hat, and then I've got my learning science and learning expertise as well. And I gotta say, just overall, it's a kind of like not very well regulated space. There's a lot of stuff out there that is pretty like, I don't want to say, well, it's basically a scam. Like some of these things are just outright a scam. And this is the case with a lot of supplements in general. Like there's really not a lot of research around some of these things, and people just sell them and you can just kind of market them as whatever. So it's not very ethical.
So this is the trouble with mainstream guys or guy who says he has a medical background. It's like, when you don't understand something, especially nootropics, like people are really quick to go, oh, it's a scam, or there's no literature behind it, or supplements are a scam or whatever. To my knowledge, most supplements are physiologically active. Most nootropics nootropic nutraceuticals and definitely nootropic pharmaceuticals are neurologically active. They've got papers behind them, whether they're forcing acetylcholine release from the hippocampus or they're optimizing AMPA receptors, or they're increasing nerve growth factor expression like Noopept and acetyl L-carnitine. Both of them have literature behind them that show that they do that, or they're optimizing like fat transport to the mitochondria of brain cells. It's a thing that Alcar does. So again, mainstream, and I would consider this guy mainstream, is not a nootropics user, very obviously. I mean, you can't leave out pharmaceuticals when you're talking about nootropics because a good degree of them are. They always do this sort of thing, right? It's just like, it's not a mainstream thing. So I think there's some sort of like social influence, like, like social psychological influence for this guy to like be on the side of what other mainstream people are saying regarding nootropics, which is, that they could potentially be a scam. In my 16 years of using nootropics, I've never once run into a nootropic chemical that's a scam. I just think that some people are somewhat uneducated, definitely, and also just kind of confused about what to expect from nootropics, right? You got a guy sitting with low testosterone, eats like shit, sleeps like shit, maybe has some biomarkers that are a little skewed. Something is causing him fatigue, and then he takes, Alpha Brain and gets nothing and goes, dude, they're a scam. Like, hey, bro, yeah, you have no idea what's going on with your physiology is actually what's happening, and you're expecting some pill to be a miracle for you, and that is idiotic. Anyway, let's continue.
And I have generally an issue with these types of things. Now, the thing with nootropics that's interesting is that usually they have ingredients that do work. And so the difficult part about saying whether nootropics work as a category is that it really depends on the specific product that you're talking about. And so the first thing is to tell you how to know if a nootropic is even legit in the first place or not, because I cannot go and review every single product on the market. I'd rather teach you how I would think about it and examine it for myself. So here's something that you need to know about supplements, natural therapies, all of this sort of stuff. I'm gonna put out a few facts there, right? This stuff is like not debatable. First of all, a lot, I would say probably most of the natural things that we know are effective have been turned into medications. Like, it went like this. Way back in the day, there were all these, plants and herbs and stuff that we just ground up, mixed with some pepper, cook it over your fireplace, and you drink that and you feel better. We studied that, right? Mm-hmm. We put our science hat on, we looked at that, we distilled it, and then we turned it into a medication. So
now this is a really good point. Medication, like drugs that you see from pharma that you may get prescribed from your doctor, so much of them, in fact, almost all of them they ultimately were derived from some plant, right? It was some plant or some molecule in nature that ultimately was studied and then advanced upon and maybe modified, right, in a lab to ultimately create a drug that has a specific set of mechanisms of action that produce a specific result, have a low toxicology report, and then, they go through trials that end up getting pushed through by the FDA and approved. So that's actually a really, really good point. It's like, I think mainstream or regular folks that aren't into this and don't have a shred of understanding of science or physiology kind of look at supplements. Like, I've often heard people say, like, supplements are a scam, but it's like some of the chemical constituents in the supplements, like, Mucuna purines as an example, like that stuff has naturally occurring levodopa in it, which is a pharmaceutical drug ultimately. Like, there's a preparation of levodopa, which is pharmaceutical drugs. So a lot of the natural supplements, nootropics included, that are nutraceuticals, it's like, this is the kind of stuff that, scientists extract, study, advance upon, modify molecularly or chemically, and then ultimately make pharmaceutical drugs. So I think that's a great point. Let's skip to this guy's experience. This is a pretty long video. I don't want to keep you guys here forever.
Overall, I'd say that the ingredients they're using are all, there's usually some research to suggest that it has, some kind of benefit. So at the end of the day, I thought, well, it's worthwhile me actually giving it a shot. But as I said before, what matters is how you subjectively feel about it when you use it. So that's what I did. I took this supplement, and they market themselves pretty interestingly. They actually said that it's not meant to replace coffee. What it's meant to do is it's meant to offset the negative parts of coffee. I often feel this, I don't know if you guys feel this as well, but sometimes when I drink coffee, I get this very wired sensation, like I'm awake and I'm attentive, but I'm a little bit on edge, like I'm a little bit jittery. And I still get this feeling when I have really strong coffee, and I've been drinking coffee for a really long time now. So, I don't know, maybe I'm caffeine sensitive or something, but that widened feeling is probably the big, and also if I drink too much, it makes me feel just a little bit more, almost anxious in a way. So for example, I recently...
Let's just quick look at the ingredients. Magic, My Nootropic, ingredients. Let's see what this thing says. Okay, so we got the patented blend: olive oil, matcha, ashwagandha, bacopa monnieri, rhodiola, choline. I guess that's probably choline bitartrate, echinacea. What else do we have in here? Lion's mane, phosphatidylserine, cordyceps, theanine, piperine. That's about it. Okay, so the only real nootropics in this blend, another pop-up, would be lion's mane. I guess you could consider phosphatidylserine, which is a cortisol lowering agent, a nootropic. There's some choline in here, which is definitely nootropic, although they don't specify what type of choline. And then I would say bacopa monnieri. Everything else here, you got vitamins and whatever, so the rest of this is really not a nootropic. Some people consider cordyceps a nootropic via its work on it's like D2 agonism or some sort of dopamine receptor agonism, among other things. You mentioned something really important, which is that, like, you know, you got to take it for a couple days in order to achieve a result. This is complete nonsense. Look, you know, bioactive compounds, neuroactive compounds, choline as an example, right? You know, if it's choline bitartrate, your gut bacteria is going to consume a little bit of it. You're going to metabolize it in the gut. It's going to transport over into the brain and then bind to cholinergic receptors in the brain. And then you're going to have some activation of memory, focus, and these kinds of things. So, like, yeah, you know, bacopa is a longer term nootropic to take, but a lot of the rest of them, like ashwagandha, is active within 30-40 minutes, you know, once it gets into affecting neurochemistry. So, like, yeah, no, people say that to you. If anyone says that to you, oh, it's good, you got to take it for 3-4 days, complete nonsense. You got neuroactive compounds that, once they're metabolized, they're active in the brain. You should not have to wait any time for a nootropic to be effective.
My subjective experience about a single nootropic versus what the research and the studies say about something versus just how you personally feel with it yourself, as long as it's not harming someone, I think it's just fine. What would I recommend? I would recommend just give it a go, see if you like it. You'll find links if you want to try the Magic Mind drink. You'll find a link in the description. You can check that out. Give it a go. If you like it, you like it. And it's not going to break the bank. And if it gives you an improvement, that's definitely going to be worth the money. If it's not, well, then all you did is you just...
Yeah, okay, now they're just pushing this, like, you know, crappy subpar stack. Anyway, so yeah, you know, that's the every month or so I circle back and do another video about, like, mainstream. Like, I really don't, if you, like, look on YouTube and search, like, all of the individual nootropic names and review for those names and whatever mechanisms of action, you're going to find me. You're going to find me and a few other people, because there aren't many specialists that have gone and really dug into the neuroscience behind each and every one of these compounds, like read the Parkinson's studies with 9-methylbeta-carboline, like really sat and consumed them and tried to understand, like, everything about it, right? And so you're going to get this general discussion about nootropics, which is kind of what we got here. That's why, like, I created Nootropics Ground Zero, Nootropics Masterclass, Nootropics God Course. I mean, these are an hour and a half, like, actual courses of me breaking each compound down. Like, this is what this does. This is a mechanism of action. This is how you stack it. This is how you get good results with it, right? Like, not many people on the web have taken the time to go and understand a lot of this stuff. Nootropics are absolutely out there in left field, but the guys at the highest level, entrepreneurs, athletes especially, business people, are performing 25, 50, 75% better than their peers, because they're using nootropics, and because they've learned from a guy. Like, a lot of these guys in Silicon Valley, business people, are hiring me literally to help them to use nootropics to perform better, or they've learned themselves through actually getting into literature, and now they're performing better. Anyway, yeah, we sell a couple of nootropics. These are nootropics that I made. The only one in stock right now is Torque, because Cortex blew out of stock. The new one, the new version, the new formula of Cortex is dropping in like 3 weeks. Any day now, guys, honestly. But in the meantime, Torque, probably the most purchased nootropic stack on the web. I mean, this is 6 to 8 hours of clean energy. Got a lot of highly effective, targeted chemicals that are optimizing neurotransmitter signaling and functioning, including dopamine, including acetylcholine, including some adenosine receptor antagonism. This is very, very powerful stuff, like, not for the faint of heart. Go buy TorqueLiveCortex.com. Go check out their reviews. The link is down in the description below to buy a bottle of this stuff. I mean, it's awesome. It's my brainchild, and I take it, well, not every day, but I take it a good bit of the time. Like, I actually get freaked out if I start running out of it. You guys know the routine. If you need to hire me for anything regarding nootropics, putting formulas together that are targeted for your brain, if you're a business person, especially, that's kind of what I do. I get the call from, like, the CEO or the executive or the startup in Silicon Valley that just got some venture funding, and they need to perform 17 hours a day to formulate nootropics that are targeted. Also, TRT. You need to dial in your protocol, get it straight, get your libido, erection quality back, or reduce side effects, and get a protocol that actually works. I can help you dial that in. We have a full-on like TRT protocol optimization consultation. There are email consultations. You don't want to get on a call. You can just send me an email with some data, some labs if you have them. I'll get you a good response. And I also just launched an erectile dysfunction recovery program. All right, this is a 20-minute fact-finding call with me. It could be an email depending on your preference, but then targeted protocols to get erection function back. You can book all of these consultations at livecortex.com. You can book me in under a minute, and I'm usually available either that day or the next day to get on a call with you or go back and forth via email. All right, everybody. Pleasure being. Hey, buddy. Hi, Max. Hi. Hello. Yeah. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Me and Max are going to go outside in the backyard and hang out for a little bit. And I'll talk to you on the next one.